There is a bell.
I'm just like.
Welcome to the new Rotary Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Would you all join us and stand up to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In light of all the rain that we have seen here and the rain that we are aware of that has caused all sorts of disasters in Texas, I found a quote that I like from Dolly Parton. The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you gotta put up with the rain. So we have a couple of visitors today. Hopefully they're not visitors for long and will soon be members.
Here.
We've got, go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm gonna introduce Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
He is a visitor today, but he is a prospective member.
Woo!
My husband.
Let the hazing begin.
Stan, who is your guest.
Kelly Campbell, she's been here before. She's a long-time veteran Rotarian, has held, worn many hats in many clubs. And she is, it's very apropos that she be here today because she is a substitute teacher for Tulsa Public Schools.
All right.
Glad to have you both, and all of you. We had a couple of birthdays this month. Jim on the 6th, as well as Jeff James. Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday. 29.
Again.
Got a little bit of a challenge there. All right.
Are there any anniversaries? All right.
I have one public interest announcement. If anyone likes rocks, minerals, or jewelry, this weekend at the Exchange Center in Tulsa, the Expo Square, is it called something else now? Is the Tulsa Rock and Mineral and Jewelry show. There'll be 30 vendors, and I happen to be in charge of the volunteers and could use extra help if anyone's looking to do something. The email I sent this week has the link to volunteering. But if you just have time and want to drop by, it's really a wonderful place. If you have kids, grandkids, whatever, there's some wonderful kids activities too to bring you to. Other announcements? Anyone else have announcements? Yes.
Yeah, like most of you know, I started a job at a River Cross Hospice recently, and we are on the search for volunteers to help sit with our clients, run errands for them, maybe read the newspaper with them, watch TV, just be a presence for them. There is an orientation that you have to go through, but I put some flyers and volunteer applications up there. If anyone is interested, I'd really hope to get at least 2 out of this group that would be interested. So please let me know. We'll put together a little orientation time. We can do it one-on-one, whatever. We go through background check and fingerprinting and all that fun stuff just to get you approved. And we serve all over northeastern Oklahoma, Manford, Muskogee, Bartlesville, lots in Tulsa, Broken Arrow. We have a total of about 88 clients currently in our system, and some of them are not able to use a volunteer, but we do have quite a few that would just like some hand holding and some presence in their lives. So if you feel so urged to do so, let me know and pick up one of these volunteer applications in the back.
Thank you. I'm glad you're in that role.
Yeah.
I bet you're great.
Yeah.
Parliamentarian.
Patti,
Yes.
she's got new things. that
Some
she's
new
doing.
things, yes. So, Are you ready for this?
Yes.
So for our happy bucks, I mean, not happy bucks, for our 50-50 drawing, I hope you guys bought tickets because we're gonna start accumulating the pot. So and then we'll draw a ticket and you'll pick a card, and if you pick the joker, then you get to split the pot. But if you don't pick the joker, then you'll get a small consolation prize, a pat on the back. No. So that's gonna start also. Well, first of all, I have a joke.
Go for it.
So I know some of you can probably relate to this. Probably not you, Evan, but I think I'm in the snapdragon time of my life. Part of me is snapped and the rest is dragon. Sorry, but I'm here all week. And Rob, how many optometrists does it take to change a light bulb? Is it 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Sorry. Sorry.
It's a little early in the day for me.
All right, my last one is, why do ants not get sick? They have little antibodies. So, that's all for now.
Yeah.
But, anybody have happy bucks?
I do.
Okay.
Tomorrow, my last day working at Riverfield, I will be officially retired.
Evan, I probably should have you put in a happy buck for your plug. No.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
Anybody else? Okay, start bringing those dollars, you guys. We need to collect some happy bucks. We want to be happy. We're friendly, but we need to be happy too. All right, that's all I have.
All right. Yes. And let me point out, there should be, you should
Yeah,
have
at the end.
received this in your email, and there's an updated version of the newsletter on the table. We'll be
What do you
doing
say?
updates on club goals, but we wanted to give you an idea of what they look like. I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Much better.
I was just saying to look at the newsletter for what our goals are, and we'll be updating those periodically and including them in the newsletter and in conversations. All right.
Yeah, we hope to have this out a little bit before the end of the month for the programs for the following month. And be sure and look, because now on the first Tuesday of every month now will either be a social or a service project or a combination of the two. Already set is August 5th. We are going to go over to the pencil box that we gave from our trust and take a tour and learn more about what they do. And then we're going to set up somewhere to go eat afterwards. So that's a kind of a combination social service project on August 5th, and it starts at 5 at the pencil box. But we'll send out an email with more information.
Yes, sir.
5 or 5:30? One thing said 5:30, I thought.
Oh. Correct that if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Okay, yes.
That email I got from the shelter box lady, you both got that, I forwarded to both of you, right? And did you contact her or anything yet?
We're not doing programs.
Well,
We
no,
have
but-
committees, but yes, we can do that.
Okay, I probably,
No,
I
that-
think we forwarded it to Tom, but he's in France.
oh,
Yeah, but,
of course.
yeah, no, we appreciate all the
Yeah.
ideas, and we'll get.
Because
that.
there's several other items too of programs that I could gin up and have on the agenda for you.
Okay, and that's why we sent the list of committee members, so that for the program committee, they would love all those ideas.
What do you think I did in the House of Friendship at convention?
lining up programs, right? I mean,
Good for you.
I went to DAC-DEB, I went to Club Runner, I went to Larry Larimore, the fellow that did the program on Narcan. And yeah, he said he's ready to do it again.
Great.
Oh, good, great, good.
But that was 3 years ago. And Shelter Box definitely, because there's been so many changes in it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about them.
Okay.
All right. Introduce Bob.
Some of you might have met Bob Bryant before. He's been a member since 2016, I believe. And he has the honor of introducing a very special guest speaker today. Come on up.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, Tom Gilbert was gonna do this, but for some reason he had to go to Paris. So they called me and said, would you take care of it for us? So I get the opportunity to introduce my daughter today. I'm gonna read her bio, and then I'll add a few things to it at the end, if that's okay. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Susan Lamkin is a third-generation Tulsa and currently serves at the Tulsa Public School Board. She is the president and represents District 7. She graduated from Texas Christian University and remained in Texas for 10 years to complete her master's in social work. She was happy to return to Tulsa to raise her family and be with her family. She and her husband Derek have 4 children, all who have attended Tulsa Public Schools. Susan is a strong advocate for improvement to student outcomes, family involvement, and equal opportunities for all students in Tulsa community. So to continue, she's very involved in PTA. In fact, she's getting ready to go to Washington in a couple of weeks to learn more about the PTA organization. It's a federal grant, from what I understand. She's very involved with the Girl Scouts. She is a cookie chairman. And when I say cookie chairman, it's not just a cookie chairman. Her garage is completely full of cookies. And she has people throughout the district come and get cookies from her.
Wow.
For 2 or 3 months, her garage is full. She also helps out at the Girl Scout camps. And she is also involved with Meals on Wheels. So she's very involved, and not only is she just part of District 7 on the school board, she is very active. She attends almost every activity of each one of the schools and is there to represent the education department. So that being said, I'd like to introduce my daughter, Susan Lamkin.
Hi there. Like he said, I'm Susan. Let me change my slide here. Doesn't have much, but yeah, I'm Susan Lamkin. Bob's my father, Bob and Sherry, and so yeah, I have been representing District 7 on the school board for 3 years. District 7 includes the Memorial High School feeder pattern, so it's kind of the south end of Tulsa Public Schools. And I have 1 more year left on my term, and then there will be another election. But this year in April, every year we re-elect or vote in the president and vice president of the school board, and it has been Stacy Willie for the past 5 years. But this year in April, I was elected as president, and Calvin Moniz is now the vice president. So we're excited to partner with Dr. Johnson and her team. That's kind of a newly put together chief team at TPS to kind of move forward, because just like you guys, our new year started July 1st. So we're kind of ready to put last year behind, and you're the first for me to compile kind of a lot of information about things that are good and happening, and just some numbers. But I heard that one of the reasons that you guys were having people come and speak about families in the community was because that's the focus right now this month, I guess, is families and children. And the kids of TPS is what I think Dad said when he mentioned it, so it made me think about, like, on the social media for TPS, they have the pets of TPS, which is kind of a fun thing. And so I don't know if you all follow Facebook, the Tulsa Public Schools site, but there's lots of fun things like that, like the pets of TPS, but also the kids of TPS and all the things happening in the district, and lots of resources for families, especially back to school. And so all of that also is found on our website. And we have, everything I have to share today either came from the website or from some of the materials that I brought back there that are my resources. And then also just from our board meetings, our agendas. So everything I'm talking about is just kind of things that have been out in the public, but I put it all together for you guys are the first ones to get all this information. So like I said, you all want to hear about the kids, and Tulsa Public Schools, we are all about the kids. That is our focus. That's why we're here. We do the work every day, and we want people to know all the good things that are happening, but I think a lot of people don't hear about the good things, or they don't know the big picture. So I think one of the things most people don't always realize is the demographics of the students and families in Tulsa Public Schools. We have 33,600 students. We are the largest district in Tulsa Public Schools. We are expected to decline maybe by about 1% next year and maybe the next year also, but still we anticipate being the largest district. So that really makes us kind of an urban district. We don't often think of Oklahoma as having things in common with a lot of really big urban communities, but for Oklahoma, we do face a lot of the issues that a lot of big cities face in other parts of the country. So, for example, 81% of our students and families are considered economically disadvantaged. Back when you had to apply for free lunch, 81% of our families today would qualify for that. Students with disabilities, 12% of the students we serve have disabilities. So that is a lot of challenges and different, in addition to the challenges we have in general, that 12% of our students have these additional needs that need to be addressed. And then 38% of our students are multilingual. So that means that 38% are receiving services as a second language, are maybe taking alternative tests because they aren't able to take the usual state tests and things like that. The demographics of TPS. I know many of you are from Tulsa, and I think it maybe looks a lot different at Tulsa Public Schools than what a lot of people remember, or maybe what a lot of people even realize. So 40% of Tulsa Public Schools students are Hispanic. 40%, they're the majority group right now. We have 22% black students, 19% of Tulsa students are white. 4% Native American, 3% Asian Pacific Islander, and then the remainder identified as a multi-race. So I think those are good things to know about our community and about our schools when you hear about a lot of the things that we have to prioritize with and the challenges that we have. One of the biggest numbers that we're following right now also is chronic absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism means that a student misses more than 16 days of school a year. It doesn't sound like much, but that's 2 or 3 days a month. And so if you start to add that up, how much instruction time you're missing. So 44% of our students, I think it comes out to be about 16,000 days of school missed. They are not coming to school that many days a year. So some are missing like 60 days of school a year. So that is one of our biggest factors in just understanding our students and families right now. So one of the reasons I joined the school board was just because I support our neighborhood schools, and during COVID and during the teacher walkout, and I'm sure you guys remember from several years ago, I just realized that the schools didn't get a lot of support, and the school board wasn't really well respected for the decisions they made, and they just needed people on there that were supportive of everybody and all of our students. And I really want to be sure, because Memorial High School in my part of town, a lot of people in my neighborhood don't go to school there. They go across town to a different school, and then, I just want to support all the schools and everybody to have the same opportunities that my kids do as a parent who's able to make those choices. So one of the things that we all are really excited about is our strategic plan. So this went into place before I was on the board. It's a 5-year plan, and I've been trained, it's through the Council of Greater City Schools, and it's for urban districts, so I've met a lot of districts similar to ours, and basically we just pick very few goals that we're gonna laser focus on, and they're all supposed to be about the kids. They're all supposed to be about student outcomes, students showing what they know and what they can do, not about adult behaviors, which an adult behavior maybe, I mean, it relates to the kids, but wanting a school to have the best football record, or wanting the school to look the best, or wanting you to honestly have the best, college acceptance rate, things like that. Some of those things are maybe the adult behavior. They're not really showing what the individual students can do. So our 5-year goal plan, it encompasses these 3 goals, is what they chose to be the priority. So the number 1 goal is about elementary school students raising their grade on the state testing, which this also became a requirement of our accreditation a couple of years ago, if you remember, under the state superintendent. We didn't plan this around that, but we already kind of had our goals in place. So the goal is that the reading would, their basic approval rate would increase from 37% to 53% over the 5 years. And so as of the results we got last year, after 2 years, we're at 44.8%. So we are on track for our elementary students to be improving their reading levels, that many, at least scoring basic. Basic is just kind of showing that you have the basic skills. It doesn't mean you're excelling, but it does mean you can read and have the basic skills. So there's a lot of room for improvement. We could make this goal a lot higher. We could have higher expectation, but you have to go back to all the challenges that I kind of pointed out before. You see the multilingual, you see the children with disabilities, you see the kids not coming to school. So these are realistic goals for our district right now, especially after the pandemic, to take these steps to improve little by little and have these student outcomes. Number 2 is for the middle school students to move from 38% to 53%. Well, now I had a middle schooler, and I saw firsthand, he starts high school, and I saw firsthand that this was the hardest group these past couple of years to move the needle. So we were not doing that great the first year or 2, but as of spring, May, when we monitored this, we were at 38.8%. So we're approaching where we need to be after 2 years, but that one is where we needed the most support. And then the 3rd goal that we have is for graduates. We all recognize that our students are not all going to necessarily just be qualified to go to a 4-year university right out of school, or they may not be able to. So we want all of our students to have the opportunity during high school to take advantage or be exposed to post-career readiness and college and career readiness through things like IB and AP courses, through the concurrent enrollment at TCC, Tulsa Tech. We have this EDGE program now that I know Will Rogers we have it at Memorial McLean, and I know Rogers is expanding this year. So we want all these things, we want our students to get credits through that. So not only they will be more prepared to go to college or a career, like if they go to tech and learn a skill, but that they will have exposure to that during high school and not just be sent out saying, now you can figure out what works best for you. So we want that to increase from 43% to 54%, and we are definitely doing that at 49.6%. We've just created a lot of new opportunities for our students. But about the strategic plan, so they put the goals in place. The school board created the goals. They did community listening, came up with the goals, and then they left it to the superintendent and the district staff to figure it out and put things in place. So we actually, every month, one sub-piece of these goals, we monitor at a meeting. We have 2 school board meetings a month, and we get data on one of these topics. Some of it's broke down a little bit more, but we talk usually for 30 minutes or so at a school board meeting about the data, about what the superintendent and her staff are doing, and the different technology and things they're using. So really, more than ever, our school board and community, if you would listen in, are more and more aware of what we're doing to reach these goals. All right. So when you do look at the website, like I said, to get to these goals, it's not just the superintendent doing it. Like, there's all these departments just when you look on the website for all the categories. All these things that go into Tulsa Public Schools, that go into a student's education. It's not just about showing up and learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. I mean, it's about them getting to school and them having the meals at the school and having the supports, like a social worker and parent involvement facilitator at the school. And having the school nurse and having fine arts and athletics, things like that. That's what gets kids to school, that's what motivates them. So if you go to the TPS website, you can read about just all these things that we're doing. Okay, so in order to get here, what does it take? Well, it takes about $700 million to run our district. And that comes from lots of different places. It does come from the state allocation, per pupil allocation. It comes from our bond, which is the, you see it on your county assessor, when it comes out of your county taxes, the millage, I think it's called. It comes from grants, it comes from funders, it comes from philanthropists, it comes from title funds. We have title funds specifically for special ed and child nutrition, through the USDA, and also for our immigrant and dual language students. So all of this, Dr. Johnson has worked with the board so that we all understand our budget a little bit better and where we're facing some concerns and what it means. And so we have a lot of conversations about that and where we can find other funds or utilize funds in different ways, because we also had COVID relief funds until September of last year that were called ESSER funds, and they were able to be used for a lot of things. We used them to remodel some of our buildings with improved heat and air and the ventilation systems. We were able to use it for that. We were able to use it for improved buses and things that made it healthier for the kids, and even for Chromebooks and virtual things. Because of COVID, we were able to use those funds for that. And those funds are gone, which we expected, and we spent every dollar. We did a really good job of spending every dollar, but we don't have those anymore. So pretty much moving forward, the bond is what we are able to rely on a lot of that for. Also, we have, if you ever look at our agenda and look at all the things that the board considers every month, we have lots of vendors. We have lots of different vendors for construction, vendors for teacher training, curriculum, all these things. And so Dr. Johnson really has worked hard to kind of streamline that and really see what makes the most sense. There's getting ready to be kind of an external evaluation of all of our staff and all these things, just to really see where we can make some changes and streamline even more, because I think it had kind of gotten to be just a lot going on. But the biggest thing that supports our kids are our teachers. We have 77 school sites. We have 5,230 employees, and half those are certified teachers. And that's who spends the day with our kids and has all this pressure and expectation on them to get them to where they need to be with the grades and just being successful in school. So we really don't show enough appreciation for our teachers in general, and we need our state and everybody to support our teachers in many ways, but they are, we have 140 vacancies in TPS going into the school year. That's not just teachers, but we really need people to fill those roles to be with our kids every day in order to support them. Like I said, we appreciate all of our community partners that also come into the schools. Some of them, we may pay a little bit, but some of them come and we just have partnerships with, like Tulsa Teacher Corps, City Year, AmeriCorps, Amplify, the libraries, the Foundation of Tulsa Schools, Assistance League, Junior Achievement, the Regional STEM Alliance, the YWCA, Lions Club, Caring Band, and that's to name a few. We have people all the time offering things for our students or our families at our school sites to help us. But like I said, we were able to use the ESSER funds to do a lot of safety things for our buildings and get the technology we needed to get through the virtual piece. And now we're really, as we review our data and our progress, we're understanding that maybe we relied too much on the virtual and trying to find the right balance of that for our kids. Okay, like I said, we do have lots of challenges. As the biggest school district in Oklahoma, we cover 173 square miles. That's kind of hard to envision in Oklahoma, but the school district actually covers 3 counties even. We have a little bit in Osage, and I guess a little bit in Wagner County too. 77 buildings. That's a lot of buildings. Some have 200 kids and some have 1,200 kids. So it's different at every site. They all are different neighborhoods. They all are different age. So there's a lot to keep up with, something new. And like I said, our demographics, even since I've been on the board, those have drastically changed. It's how we have to understand our unique needs. And as part of my PTA initiative that I've done across the district, you know, I've gone to schools in other parts of town that are completely different than what I'm used to, and to understand their need, like for PTA or for a fundraiser or things like that. It's hard when you have a district this size for us to, you know, cookie cutter something that will work for everybody. So student attendance, like I said, is one of our biggest challenges. If you know kids, if you know neighbors, if you can think of a creative way to help them get to school or be sure they get to school, that's what Dr. Johnson started Attend to Win last year with Mayor Bynum, and just trying to get people on board to encourage everybody to go to school, and for parents to understand the importance of that. We still have kids whose families don't think it's that important to go to kindergarten, maybe even first grade. They don't send their kids to school until they're a little older. They don't take it seriously. Like I said, we all know that there's limited and decreased funds for education, and that's something that is on our radar all the time, that we know moving forward we need to be prepared. We did have to cut back some of our partnerships this year with community partners because we realized some of those resources could be used maybe in the classrooms with our teachers a little bit more so than bringing in a community partner. And the more rigorous control at the state and national level. I'm a big advocate for our board having local control. There's a lot of unknowns right now with changes and threats and things happening that, you know, like I said, we started our new year, we already have a budget made, things like that, and so we want to be sure that we can keep things in place that we've already planned on. And then one of the things that we talk about a lot, Dr. Johnson and I, is that we see these great things happening in our schools, but all that really gets to the news is the bad things that happen. The one bad teacher, the one staff, one incident at one school. So one of our big initiatives right now is to share the good things. We really want people to know the good things going on in Tulsa Public Schools. We hope other people are sharing, if you have kids or grandkids or neighbors in the schools, the great things that are happening. Because like I said, we do have 34,000 kids and teachers, 2,500 teachers and staff going to school every day and doing the work with our Tulsa children. So that's what's really important. So that's why I just want to say some of the new things we've come up with are student internships. We have high school students actually working or interning in businesses all over town. There was a student at Memorial that actually got to be a TA, teaching assistant, across the street at Key Elementary with pre-K, and now she's hired there while she goes TCC this year, now that she's a graduate, and so it was like a pathway for her to get to find out that that's what she wanted to do. But they have them all over at businesses, so if you're interested in that, we add them every month on our agenda for meetings. The EDGE program, like I said, it's called Earn a Degree, Graduate Early. And they had that at Memorial McLean. The first class graduated this year with 9 students total, earning their associate's degree and all going on to college. And that's expanding to Rogers. Universal PTA, that is my personal initiative with Dr. Johnson to expand the Tulsa PTAs from the 30 that we had to as many as we can get in our district. In the past year, I've increased it to 46. We went from 30 to 46 PTAs in our district. It's a little bit rocky. It's hard to get volunteers and it's hard to get it going, but we're still working on that. We have some grant money to help pay like the dues to get some families hooked in, to get involved, because we feel like parent involvement at the school is kind of the key. Like, you have to know what's going on to think it's really important. There's new attendance policies starting this school year. If you've missed 16 days of school, the then the school will contact your family and say, starting on the 17th day, you're gonna be considered chronically absent and you may be held back, or you may not be able to play sports, all these kind of things, and they're gonna personally work with those families to figure out what's going on. And we talked about, of course, there's always unique situations or whatever, but the schools are gonna definitely be on top of that, and there will be a consequence if they continue to just not come to school. And the cell phone policies, that's actually a state mandate, but we already had it in place. We already had banned cell phones at elementary, and then in middle school, they were keeping them in their lockers, and high school is gonna have to be more strict now, but we kinda had already done that, so it's not a big shock to our students. And the Oklahoma Teacher Empowerment Fund, that is through the state, and that incentivizes teachers that want to mentor other teachers and pays them a couple $1,000s to help other teachers and kind of guide them. Because we have a lot, I didn't mention that, one of our other obstacles is we have a lot of alternatively certified or new teachers. And so that's a little bit hard to improve all of our scores with a lot of new people. And then we also this year moved some funds around so that every school in the district, every high school and middle school, all get uniforms through the district. So no paying high dues at this school for your kid to be on a sport just because they can, and then this will not even be able to have uniforms. So like the district's buying them for everybody. And the new things, I put flyers back there. I haven't even read this through, and you're getting a black and white copy because it's at the press. But the new things that Dr. Johns is starting is a TPS ambassador program. When we limited our partnerships, like with reading partners, we had a lot of community members saying we really want to still volunteer with you. And so there's an ambassador program that you can sign up through the district and find ways to volunteer. And then there's also a student safety and engagement action plan that we are looking at because of concerns in our community over teens and violence lately, looking at opportunities like they use, for example, like a community center that didn't have staff to keep it open at night or into the evening, like using community volunteers, Dr. Johnson herself maybe, to like go and hang out with the teenagers and give them a safe and productive place to be. So just different initiatives, different ideas like that to protect our youth and keep them engaged so they'll do well in school. So that's those two things. And then like I said, I pulled pictures from the website because there's lots of good pictures. We had great graduations and a lot to celebrate in sports and with a lot of our new programs. Okay, that's a lot of information. So what else do you want to hear about?
So was the separation with reading partners strictly financial?
It came down to finances. There's just, since reading is what we do have a lot of supports in place for our teachers, we felt like keeping the kids with their teacher in the classroom instead of pulling them out for maybe this even a different looking program was the most useful of our resources and hopefully the most effective. But we don't have any numbers yet, but yeah, it did come down to the way we spent our funds.
Have you lost a lot of funds from the federal government?
We know that some had been cut, but right now we're waiting to see if the title funds that were told to not be handed out last week, if we're gonna get those or not, because those affect, like I said, those are the ones that primarily affect our immigrant students and the language services. And without those funds, we will have to find an alternative funding source from our budget or from another funding source or the community to be able to continue those services for our students and keep the staff that we have in place for those services. But we'll just have to do it one way or another. I'll let Stan finish.
Susan, when you had your list up there of the employees, the numbers and certified teachers and all that, do you have maybe a ballpark figure of how many volunteers are there total in the district? I mean, people that come up for like a couple hours at a time, proctor, study hall, chaperone field trips or anything like that?
I do not. That used to be tracked through our PTAs and someone at the school used to track it. And so I'm not sure. Someone at the district probably keeps from each campus, like collects hours, but I'll have to find out. because I know there was a certain number that were signed up with reading partners, and of course, I'm there with PTA, so that's a good question.
Well, my impetus for that came from, as we were emerging from pandemic, and this was probably it was my president year, after our meeting at Rogers in the autumn, I guess it was, of 22, Nikki Dennis pulls me aside after the meeting and asked me if I knew anybody that, could maybe step up and basically babysit. That was her words, but we're talking about proctor study hall, proctor exams, chaperone field trips. Having been, I'm a retired nurse anesthetist, but I still have my RN. I went ahead and stepped up and volunteered for the school nurse, who was kind of inundated with a lot of busy work, and it kind of kept her from doing, school nurse stuff, and basically did admin work for her for a couple of 3 hours every couple of weeks. And TPS finally got her an assistant, so I was able to stand down from it. But I was just kind of curious because I know there are some people who would be willing to come up and do that.
Yeah, I think that's part of what this new program is about, is to try to have a structured way to get people back in the buildings that are interested, because I think we were surprised sometimes when we find out that is happening in a school, like, because somebody's just done something like that for years, and that's great, so we may not even know how many people are out there, but this is just a structured way. Another thing we talked about last week was maybe, since we do have these vacancies, and like maybe one school is missing a history teacher, if there's someone in the community that we could hire to come in just to teach one class, or even would volunteer and had the expertise to come in and just teach a class, and all different ideas, just to get different people in there and fill some of these positions. I see Dawn had a question. Are we done?
I just wanna know what the district's doing about ICE.
As of now, we haven't changed anything, and we have no plans to change any of our policies. We don't collect that information from families.
Okay. And if they show up at school?
I'm assuming they'll be handled like any other visitor to the school.
Okay.
So, yeah, so sorry, I'm glad you got to people when the meeting's done.
Oh, we have one thing for you to do.
Well, hold on. First, thank you very much. We appreciate you. It would be appropriate for us to give to you. It's about Will Rogers High School. Some of y'all may already be familiar with it.
Great,
Yeah, we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Will you have a job?
Okay.
All right, oh, how about just jump out?
Okay,
So we'll
just
throw them back in, just throw.
Okay.
Everybody check your numbers.
All of it, or just the last
That's the
one?
last.
144 are the last three numbers?
It ain't me, it ain't
All right, Jim.
Birthday guy.
We're gonna let you, yeah, your birthday guy. All right.
Joker.
Get your card, any card, don't take the joker the first time. That would be awful. That'd be awful. Okay, what you got? All
Well,
right.
it starts with a J.
I know. Good job.
Fun time.
When we build up our pot, we'll have a consolation prize, but we don't have much of a pot right now. Okay, next week it'll increase.
And speaking of next week, we will have a program. I'll be talking about the Rotary Convention, and Stan also went, so we'll tell you kind of what we learned in Calgary, and a lot of interesting stuff, got a lot of ideas. And Patti will be going over a little bit of our new schedule that we have, and how we're kind of set up for the year, in case you haven't heard the broad picture of it, so that you can have an understanding of it, and then making sure that you'll get emails and handouts so that everybody knows what the upcoming programs are gonna be. And thank you again, Susan, that was great. So anyway, I guess to close the meeting, we do the four-way test. I need to hold it up, or can you guys see it?
We know it.
You know it. Is it the truth?
Is
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And will it be fun?
Will anybody find out?
That's what that is. Thank you, everybody.
Don't forget the thing. Ring out, ring out, ring out.
Do we need to ring a bell?
Just think
Yay.
how it could get to be done.
Officially done.
Woo-hoo.